Sunlight pooled across the hardwood floors of Keanu Reeves' Los Angeles home, soft and golden like a blessing. The day was a rare gift. No filming, no calls, no interviews. Just quiet. A vinyl record spun on an old player in the corner, filling the house with a warm crackle of classic blues. Keanu sat cross-legged on the floor, his back against the couch, a simple white t-shirt clinging to him as he laughed, wrestling gently with Shadow, his beloved rescue dog. Shadow, a shaggy, loyal mix of husky and shepherd, barked playfully, tail a blur of happiness. The world, for a moment, was simple: a man, a dog, and the sacredness of ordinary time. The doorbell's sudden ring fractured the peace. Shadow froze, ears perked, sensing the change. Keanu ruffled his fur, smiling softly. "Easy, boy," he murmured, pushing himself up. When he opened the door, Maria stood there, his assistant, a woman who had seen him through premieres, grief, and solitude. Today, her face was pale, eyes rimmed with unshed tears. She clutched her phone to her chest like a talisman. "Keanu," her voice wavered. "You need to see this." A ripple of unease passed through him. He stepped aside, letting her in. Shadow padded silently after them, tail drooping. Maria handed him her phone, the screen alive with breaking news. "Pope Francis dies unexpectedly at 89. The words blurred for a moment. Keanu stared, blinking once, then again, as if clarity would come with time. It didn't. He lowered the phone. His breath left him in a slow exhale. The world outside the windows remained the same. Sunlight, birdsong, the mundane and the beautiful. But inside him, something ancient cracked open. Shadow pressed against Keanu's leg, whimpering. Absently, Keanu knelt, running a steady hand down the dog's back, grounding himself. Maria hovered, unsure. I'm so sorry," she whispered. He nodded once, silent. His mind was already slipping away, backward, into a memory he rarely touched. Years ago, in Florence, Keanu sat in a small hotel, finishing a modest dinner alone, when a sharp knock rattled the door. He opened it to find a man in dark clothing. No name, no words, just an envelope sealed with the insignia of the Vatican. Inside, a simple handwritten note. "I would like to walk with you in silence among the olive trees." No cameras, no press, no signature, just a sense of gravity that pulled at something deep inside him. He'd thought, maybe a hoax, a charity request, a misunderstanding. But curiosity, or perhaps something older, won out. That night, a black car slipped him through a side entrance of the Vatican. Silent halls stretched like rivers of stone. A senior man, dressed in simple robes, led him through the labyrinth until they emerged into a hidden garden. There, under a gnarled olive tree, stood Pope Francis. He was smaller than Keanu had imagined, frailer, the weight of invisible battles heavy on his shoulders. Yet his eyes, his eyes burned like two stars refusing to go out. They walked. No words, only the soft whisper of leaves and the crunch of gravel underfoot. Minutes, maybe hours, passed before the Pope spoke. He spoke of faith that endured silence, of prayers that seemed to vanish into empty skies, of the loneliness that clung even to those who wore the crown of Peter. "Faith survives silence," he said in a voice worn thin by struggle, "but it might start to imitate it." Keanu listened, every word carving itself into his heart. Before they parted, the Pope pressed a heavy envelope, sealed with crimson wax, into his hand. "If I don't see you again," the Pope said, "this secret must live." Keanu had kept it close ever since, hidden across continents, tucked inside battered duffel bags and hotel safes, unopened, unspoken. Until now, the memory faded like smoke, leaving Keanu standing in his living room, Maria's worried eyes searching his face. He handed her back the phone. "Thank you for telling me," he said, voice rough but kind. Maria hesitated. "Do you want me to stay?" He shook his head. I need to be alone with this." She nodded, squeezing his arm before slipping out, leaving only the fading scent of lavender in the air. Keanu sat back down on the floor, shadow curling into his side. Slowly, from the inner pocket of his jacket, he drew out the old envelope, yellowed with age, crimson seal unbroken, the papal crest gleaming faintly in the soft light. For years, he had honored the silence. But death is a way of changing the rules. His fingers trembled, not from fear, but reverence, as he cracked the wax and unfolded the parchment inside. The handwriting was steady, elegant, unmistakably human. To the man of silence, who listens more than he speaks, sees more than he shows. This world needs men to carry light through shadows cast by those meant to protect it. Keanu's chest tightened. He read on. I fought behind marble walls, wore a fisherman's crown in a sea of secrets. Forces in this church I could not cleanse where crosses but move like wolves. I tried to expose them. I failed. A tremor passed through him, like the earth shifting beneath steady feet. Another folded sheet slipped free, thinner, older. A prophecy. Keanu unfolded it carefully, the paper whispering in protest. The one who will undo me shall not come from without, but within. He shall smile as a friend, wear the vestments of faith, but carry only the void. He stayed at the words, feeling the breath of centuries on his skin. It wasn't heresy Pope Francis feared. It wasn't rebellion. It was imitation, a hollow echo of goodness, empty at its core, draining faith from within until only silence remained. Keanu folded the letter back with trembling hands. Shadow leaned into him, sensing the shift, the gravity of something vast and unseen. Keanu pressed his forehead to the dog's head, closing his eyes. Outside, the sky had deepened into a rich, aching blue. Pocketing the letters, Keanu clipped a leash to Shadow's collar and stepped into the fading afternoon. The air was cool, tinged with the salt of the distant ocean. They walked slowly through winding neighborhood streets, past gardens heavy with blooms, under towering oaks whose branches clawed the sky. Keanu's boots crunched on gravel, steady, grounded. Above him, the first stars blinked awake. He thought of the Pope's quiet battles, fought not with swords or decrees, but with simple human endurance. Of the price of silence, of the cost of hope. He thought of the envelope hidden for so long, and the burden he now carried. A duty not to destroy, but to preserve. To be a man who carries light through shadows. Keanu tugged his jacket tighter against the gathering chill. Shadow nosed his hand, offering silent companionship. The world was broken. Always had been. But there were still those who chose to mend what they could, to walk quietly into the dark with a lantern held high. As he walked, Keanu whispered a promise to the stars, not loud, not dramatic, just steady. I'll keep the light alive. And somewhere, under an unseen sky, he believed Pope Francis heard him. The night deepened, but Keanu Reeves kept walking, not away from the sorrow, but toward the duty it left behind.